Hey there, everybody. Welcome to the ESPN FC studios. Kasey, Stevie, Ale, and Seb here with you. We've said goodbye to Jules, and now we have your questions from social media. The first one from Don's other friend, Frank. Ale, does Xavi need to announce he's leaving again after Barcelona got pumped for 4 today by Girona?
Yes. You know when people were talking about Barcelona has been better since he announced he was leaving, and then they announce he's coming back and they keep losing matches, it's like, all of it was nonsensical. All of it was just the dumbest rhetoric to think that a manager saying that he's leaving makes the team better automatically. That whatever flaws you had as a group, now they magically have disappeared because he said he was leaving. And by the way, that's also the admission of that manager saying, you're better off without me. You're going to be better off without me. That's why I'm leaving. And somehow that made Barcelona better. We have seen over the last 3 weeks or so the same struggles that we saw in the earlier part of the season. This Barcelona team has flaws.
Our next question has to do with living accommodations. Kasey, what's the story of Hausdonk 2,
yes.
and how you came to live in a castle? How was it? This was in your Gladbach days, yeah?
Correct. Actually, very randomly. I'd moved in the winter break to the outside the Dusseldorf area, and we were just looking for the right property. And it initially came up as,
and as you do, it was a castle.
like just an event rental, and then it was almost like overnight. I went, hey, maybe it would be rented long term, and it wasn't the most convenient to where the kids needed to school and where, but when the opportunity arose to live in a castle that was originally built by the Franks in 970.
Wow.
We kind of thought, that doesn't happen very often.
Was the rent brutal?
The rent wasn't brutal, but it wasn't cheap. Let's just put it that way.
What was your electricity bill?
It was.
They had candles.
Yes, correct. Well, the castle.
Big fires.
The castle had burned for about in 1850 till the 1990s, and then there was a big push from the owner and the historical society to rebuild it, and so he got some money from them to do it. So it was modern. Right. The inside was modern. The outside. So yeah, if you want to go on the internet, look at Hausdonk 2 outside in Tunisvorst.
So it wasn't a castle then?
Oh, it was a castle. It was a very castle.
Don't you doubt it.
Yeah. But it was a very interior modern castle.
Okay. Ale, which player is likely to leave Real Madrid this summer? Brahim, Goulet, or Rodrigo? Dan, man, why don't you ever choose any of my questions? 1, not Dan.
That was why you chose.
2, the host never chooses the question. Yeah. What do you think, Ale?
I wouldn't say leave as much as being loaned out, and this is a question that came up sometime last week, that what would be best for Arda Güler, and probably being loaned out wouldn't be a bad idea, thinking about the fact that Brahim Diaz is ahead of him in the pecking order right now, and let's just think. Kylian Mbappe coming, Vinny Jr., Rodrigo, Endrick. It just doesn't seem like the opportunities are going to be readily available for Arda Güler. So who's more likely? I think Güler going on a loan.
Let's stay with Real Madrid. Nedum's interior decorator provides our next question for all of you guys. And we've talked about this over the last couple days. Courtois got the start today for Madrid, kept a clean sheet, big save early in the second half. Would you definitely start him midweek against Bayern, or go with the guy who's been playing every week in Lunin? Ancelotti says it's going to be Lunin. Yeah. You agree?
I agree. I think it would be pretty harsh on Lunin at this stage. Granted, Lunin is not Thibaut Courtois, but we also had a feeling that in this match, as we saw, Thibaut Courtois didn't have a lot to do. He had one thing to do. He did it very well. That might not be the case midweek. There might be a little more work that needs to be done, and you're probably going to want the guy that's a little sharper and has been playing more regular. I think if Lunin hadn't been playing well, I think then maybe there'd be a different conversation. But because he has, I think it's pretty clear what Ancelotti's thinking.
We've talked about it as far as the semifinals. What about the final? Because you got another month to get him in shape for that.
Ancelotti said that Courtois is going to be playing all the league games. That has got, he's playing in the final if we get there all over it.
Well, that's different. When you've played 4 or 5 games, then, and again, I think it'll still be what's his form like in those 3 or 4 games.
Unless he's throwing it in.
Yeah.
Courtois will play in the final.
You agree?
I just think you just need to see evolution from Thibaut Courtois. People are assuming that because he's back, he's really back, and that's not.
You need to see, like, is he close, or does he have to be at 100?
It wouldn't be for me to say that as much as say the goalkeeping coach who works with these guys regularly and knows what these guys are capable of. And do you see explosion? And I think that's the one thing that I'd be looking for. Do I see explosion when he's able to create that jump to get to a ball that usually he would get to because he's Thibaut Courtois and nobody else gets to it? If he's getting to that ball consistently, his decision making, the rhythm of the game, the instinct of the game that you kind of lose when you haven't been out there. People talk about being rusty. It's not just about making the saves, it's about your positioning, it's about how you're seeing the game, how you're reading a ball over the top. All these things need to happen, and they don't happen overnight. You need to see Thibaut Courtois get back to his best in order for him to be in the final. Anything less than that, I think you're looking at a guy in Andre Lunin who has done enough to, at the very least, warrant consideration.
And I think the big advantage that Real Madrid have is the fact that they've already won the title.
Yeah.
The fact that it's not a pressure game the next game. They can make the changes and give somebody who's maybe a little banged up or somebody who's been out a long time a run that if they were still challenging week in and week out, I don't know if they would be as confident to be able to do that.
Let's talk some CONCACAF. Ale, can the Crew win against Pachuca and defeat another team in Mexico? And is Wilfried Nancy the best coach between the two leagues?
Okay. Let's go, Crew.
Yeah. Oh, well, you knew that was coming.
Nothing but the Crew.
There's a shocker.
Nothing better than the Crew, and will forever be about the Crew. Shout out to MLS who wanted to move the Columbus Crew a few years back. Shout out. Yeah. We're looking at the league champion and potentially continental champion in the Columbus Crew. I'm just saying.
But the people at the MLS front offices now, they're sticking their chests out pretty far about old Columbus
Oh,
Crew.
well, of course, because they were always number one in their list.
Yeah.
Regardless, all I would say is that I think the Columbus Crew, not only are they playing at a high level in MLS, they're playing at a high level, period. There is, I think, a big difference between the level of play right now of the Columbus Crew and a lot of the teams in Major League Soccer. This team has something that not many MLS teams have, and that is depth. This is a team that can go from 1 to 15, 1 to 16, and still be productive and still have a level of play that is superior to everybody else. I'm going with the Columbus Crew beating Pachuca. Of course I am.
You're going against your boy Salomon Rondon, the Venezuelan assassin?
The Columbus Crew, baby.
Hey, that's some anti-Vamos Venezuela right there.
Hey, let me ask you this. Salomon Rondon, a Columbus Crew legend? No, he's not.
No, he's not.
No, he's not.
Might be a Pachuca legend when it's all said and done, banging home the goals. Interesting question there about Nancy being the best coach between the two leagues. Probably the other candidate is the guy on the other side of this, Guillermo Almada with Pachuca. He's the guy that everybody in Mexico says is the best coach in Liga MX. Danny Mac for Kasey as a keeper. Would you have teammates defending the posts from a corner or none at all, which seems to be a la mode in today's game?
Well, I think there's multiple arguments. One, that if you've got two guys on the post, then there's obviously somebody free to head the ball. Because you can't then just mark everybody. If you've got two free guys marking the post, you probably have somebody free in the space as well. So, yeah, there's a point where it's a numbers game and you're thinking, do we need to match up? Now, we had a little conversation about this yesterday, about zone marking and who takes responsibility. And so, I think what I would prefer to have is guys who are going to win their matchups 1v1 away from the post. Yeah, it's nice when a guy clears a ball off the line for you, 100%. But how many times is a free header and forcing the guy to clear the ball off the line because nobody's being marked in the box?
I used to have this argument with Matt Rees.
Goalie at the Reds.
Generally every pre-season.
Right.
What did he want?
He wanted one on the back post and nobody on the front, or the other way around. He wanted one on the post and he wanted the other one left.
See, my argument would
and I was like, no.
My argument would be if I was going to have one on the post, so I've got a guy in the space, in the near post, and a guy on the back post. So if it goes over the guy's head on the near post space, can't he just shift back onto the front post and now has been switched to the back post?
See, I never got that.
Yeah.
You're asking a player.
What did you prefer?
On the post.
Both posts.
Yeah. And my reason was, go and have a look and see how many goals we've lost in corners.
Yeah.
In the story. And every time I said that, He went, okay. But it happened every pre-season.
Really?
For some reason, every pre he would go, I'm going to take somebody off that post and mute. And I'm like, no.
But there's the point we were talking about earlier, is it comes down to your personnel, and are you successful doing things a particular way with the personnel you have? And you're saying, we've been very successful doing it this way. Here's the proof. We don't concede goals on corners. Done.
I'm going to, based on evidence that I lived through, Stevie, I'm going to say you are correct. Because playing against the New England Revolution at Gillette, corner kick happens. I take a shot from somewhere near the top of the 18-yard box outside my range.
Aye.
But it goes past Matt Reese, it's going into the back of the net, and you had Leo Cullen on the post.
Aye.
And he kept it out. So you're right.
Aye.
Last one for you, Ale. Do you see Barca winning the Champions League or League next season with the limited budget and the same manager? Excuse me, can they even turn things around?
You
couldn't even get through it.
You couldn't even get through the question.
No, not with a straight face.
No, so while we evaluate and look at the structures of Barcelona and how are they going to make decisions, or how is the player acquisition going to work, who's leaving the club so that a player can come into the club, the fact that you're settling, because it's essentially what they did, settling on the decision to keep Xavi because, look, it's probably the best option out of all the bad options that we had available. We don't have the money to go get a manager. We don't really want Rafa Marquez, and so, hey, Xavi, you're our guy. You were our guy all along, and you continue to be our guy. So when you have that going on here at Barcelona, and then you have what you have going on at Real Madrid, league champion, maybe even Champions League, right? Maybe even that. And then it's getting stronger with Mbappe and whoever else comes in, and Ancelotti, and structure, and youth, and potential. It's hard to make an argument. It's hard to really make an argument for Barcelona. I think right now they're in trouble and they have to get their young guys back, and Xavi has to be healthy and Pedri has to get to his best, and defensively they have to improve dramatically. And who's going to score the goals? Too many questions for Barcelona. It's difficult to see.
Yesterday we talked about all the noise at Bayern Munich. That's kind of behind the manager's back. Now, I think Xavi talked a lot about that in that decision to say, okay, I think I'm done because I'm tired of all this noise behind me. Did the purpose of it to get some of that noise quieted so then now he can say, I can stay in the job because they've said, okay, we'll back off from behind you and let you do the job, knowing that you are going to have absolutely zero budget to change this. In fact, we're going to have to sell like 6 guys just so this team can actually play next year. And who are those 6 guys?
Barcelona losers on the day as they fall 4-2 against Girona, meaning Real Madrid pick up yet another La Liga title. That'll do it for this edition of ESPN FC's Extra Time. Make sure to catch tomorrow's edition of the show live on ESPN+.